So far in our lab, we've loaded the cell phone into an assembly, created a bounding box, and inserted that in the assembly, and then we created a third part which will represent the stand, offset some planes, and added this sketch. So I'm going to use Control Tab, and I want to go back to this assembly, and I want to have a look at it. And the first thing I realize is the way it's been designed is the cell phone's been designed to slide in or slide up and under here and then sit against here. So we really don't want this part of the stand touching the phone. We need a bit of a gap here. So I'll close this and I'll go back to my part. And with the realization that I want a gap, I want to go to this plane and I'm going to edit it. So I'm going to click on it, choose Edit Feature, and rather than make it coincident, I am going to use an offset plane, and I'm going to offset it 30 thou or 40 thou or whatever you like and think will look good. Remember, 30 thou is very small, so I might even want to go further. For now, I'll make it 30 thou, and I'll say OK. And next, I want to continue to use this sketch. So I'm going to select it and look normal too. And then from this, I'm going to create some geometry that will represent the speaker amplifier and the stand, and I'll just keep working through it. So I'm going to select the sketch again, and I'm going to edit the sketch. The first thing I want to do is I want all this geometry for construction. So I'm just going to window select it all, release my mouse, and tell it this is just construction geometry. I'm going to focus on the speaker. This geometry represents the speaker on my phone, and I want to offset it a bit. I'm going to select Offset Entities. I'm going to set the distance to 60 thou. I have Select Chain on, and I want to offset these entities. I'm going to click on this, followed by this line, then this arc, and this line. They're going in the proper direction, so I'm going to right click to accept that. This will be the start of the tunnel hole for the sound to come up. So I'm going to offset this one more time to represent the geometry on the outside of the part profile. So I'm going to go back and select Offset Entities again. I'm going to select this chain. And this time I want to think about my wall thickness. The minimum thickness would probably be 60 thou. Could be more. I wouldn't suggest much less, but that's up to you. I'm going to actually make my wall thickness 1/8 of an inch and say OK. Next, I want to think about how this is going to be attached to the rest of the stand. So I'm going to add some geometry up here above the phone, which will allow me to connect it to the rest of the base. Again, I want to think about I need a gap here so I can easily slide the phone in. I don't want an excessive gap, but I want a gap that's easy. So I'm going to take this line and I'm going to offset it as well. So I've pre-selected it. I'm going to say offset. It's going the wrong way. That's fine. I can reverse it here. And 1/8 of an inch will be fine. And I'll say OK. And recall, because it's a converted entity, if I want, I can drag its endpoints around, or I could trim them later. Next, I'm going to add a center line. I'm just going to choose the midpoint of one of these. And I'm going to come up here and add a center line, and I can use that as symmetry later. And I'm going to join this line to this arc using a 3-point arc. So I'll select 3-point arc. I'll choose this style. I'll start from here. I'll come over to here, and I'll get something that looks reasonable. Click to place it. Press Escape to stop the command. With the arc selected, I'm going to hold Control, and I'll select this arc, and I want a tangent relationship so it looks nicer. And now I can play with how I would like it to look. So I'm going to use my mouse gestures and activate Smart Dimension. I'll select this arc and I'm going to make it 1 inch. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dimension from here to my center line, and I'm going to come across and I'd say, yeah, I think I'd like that to be 2 inches. So I'm going to push Escape, and the next thing I want to do is push Escape again to stop dimensioning. I'll trim this entity out to this line. So I'll go to Trim, I'll just use the power trim, drag through here, and we're good. So I'll accept that. And now I'll mirror these entities to this side of the part. So I'll select Mirror Entities, select this line, this arc, right click to end my selection, select the center line, right click to accept that. Now that my sketch is fully defined, I'm going to exit the sketch, and I'm going to select this geometry, go to the Features ribbon, and I'm going to extrude this up. So I'll rotate around so I can see the extrusion direction. I'm going to make my thickness 1/16. Because I have multiple contours, I'm going to click here and tell it what contours I want to go up. So I want these contours to go up. I'll right click to accept this. And now I've started to create my part. If I Control Tab, back to the assembly, I can see how it looks. I'll turn the visibility of my bounding box back on. And then I can get an idea to see what it looks like. And I can continue there to create my part, checking that I don't go outside my bounding box. So continue to create yours and have fun with it.